Hello, welcome or welcome back to Spiritual Maintenance. I am your spiritual advocate, Mystic Mary. So, I had just posted a video the other day of a channel that I had gotten, um, kind of like on connections and in a nutshell, kind of talking about how our effectiveness of communication reflects our spiritual health. And I just thought I thought that was amazing that that there's a measurement that we can now have for spirituality. Um, and then as soon as I was done that video, I was like, well, if we don't speak effectively, how do we get better at that? And so I sat with that and meditated for a while. And here's what came up for me. Again, take what resonates, leave the rest. This, if it's not for you, it's not for you. But this is what came up for me. If it helps you, wonderful. If not, I wish you all the best anyway. Carry on your merry way. Okay, so how we speak to others reflects fears blocking connection with spirit, is what I got first. So basically, it's like a mirror because as above, so below. So the way we're communicating with others is a reflection of how we communicate with spirit. And there's those two ways of communicating with spirit, um, prayer and meditation, or visualization is another way. Um, Another way we can kind of call prayer. Prayer is when we have that visual of what we want. We are asking spirit for it, and we are asking with all our heart. So our emotions and our thoughts are in that. That is true prayer. It's true manifestation. It's true visualization. So it's that asking aspect with spirit. The other flip side of communicating with spirit is that sitting and listening for whatever spirit has to say, aka meditation, is I think is kind of like the global um, term for it. I think is if there's a different one, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure meditation, that listening, um, the receiving of channels, downloads, whatever they're called, whatever you call them. So I had spoken about how it kind of comes to that balance of anxious attachment and avoidant attachment. And that doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you're on one side or you're on the other. It's fluid. For example, the woman who wrote um, Codependent No More, she started off on the avoidant side. She ended up, she was an alcoholic. She went through AA, everything like that. She healed that, and then she fell over to the codependent side, where she was now the one in a relationship with someone with addictions, and so then she had to heal herself. And then her book is about both sides of that. So, and definitely recommend that book, Codependent No More. Um, and then if you don't want to read, Jimmy on Relationships is another amazing resource. He's here on YouTube, that shows those two dynamics. And again, we can be on either side depending on whom we are speaking with, um, what we're going through in life. So don't feel that you fall into one category or the other, is basically what I'm getting into. Sorry if I'm not sorry. Someone maybe needed to hear it that way. Okay, so that anxious side of it is that I need to, um, they keep busy because of the anxiousness. They can't sit still. They feel that they don't deserve to speak, that they're not good enough. And that kind of it slowly goes into the codependent side, because it's, you know, if I say this, they're going to react this way. If I say this, this is going to happen, etc. So it's that fear of speaking. So these types of people are good at opening up to spiritual guidance. So meditation is their jam. They're always listening, feeling. They're on the emotional side of things. So they're feeling everything. They're seeing the signs. They're asking spirit, please show me how to get through this. Please show me how to get through this. And they're open for that. Um, so the way to heal that is prayer, and that is communicating with clarity. So when you start praying, because most people on this side, when they're praying, they kind of pray in a way of like, Lord, I would like this, but I get it if I'm not, if I'm not deserving of it, that kind of thing. Like they feel like they don't deserve whatever it is that they're asking for, and that reflects in their communication. Like they're afraid of speaking their needs, their wants and whatnot because of how it's going to be reciprocated. Exact same thing on a spiritual level. So they have trouble communicating with spirit what their wants and needs are for the future. So they don't typically um, work on manifestation, or they might have a roundabout of, I would like freedom. Um, I would like to be in a relationship with trust, but the specifics of it, uh, they're clueless because they just want this and they're going for the bare minimum because they feel like if they ask for anything more, they're not going to get anything. So as above, so below. So get clear on what you want and see your future in that way, and just visualizing. If you can't get the words out, because remember, we want to work in small steps in healing. You don't just want to shift and do whatever because it makes it harder to stick to. So start with visualization where you just see yourself in the type of house you want to be in. You see yourself with the type of car you want. You see your family doing what you wish they were doing. Start that way. And then as you go, start using those words. Start speaking. And then as within, so without, as you do that with spirit and become comfortable feeling that it's okay to ask, it will reflect in the way you speak. Where that one day you're going to be like, well, I would like it if we did this. And then they react normally, and you're like, oh, maybe that was a childhood trigger. And the reason I flinched was because when I was a child, XYZ, I'm not going to give specifics because I don't want to trigger anybody, but that's why I was reacting, because this person reflects or mimics someone I knew in the past, so I'm expecting the same response. But I just spoke up, they didn't react that way, so maybe I am safe. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the same for those on the avoidance side. The more you do it, the easier it will come. And so the easy okay, something happened with my computer. I'm not sure what, but I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to let that stop me from sharing my next message, which is on the avoidance. So, what I got was nope, numb, and looking for distractions. And what I got from that was that is the emotions. So, confrontation, um, any sort of conflict or debate brings up emotions, and that is the area that the avoidants don't want to touch, because whatever happened in their past, they haven't been able to process it yet. And as time goes on, those emotions build up. And okay, this is all, it's all coming. A second. Okay, so when the avoidant thinks about what happened in the past, excuse me, they're reliving it again, and they're reliving it in that moment is then re-traumatizing them. And then again, they think about it, then they're double re-traumatized. And it's like every time they revisit, they're traumatized again. So their trauma, yes, what happened back then was traumatic, but it's like their trauma has maximized significantly. And I'm thinking PTSD right now. Like that is what PTSD is. It's not that you experienced trauma, it's that you keep reliving it. So just because you went through a traumatic experience does not mean you have PTSD, because you could have processed it. And and so it affected the way you do certain things, but PTSD is reliving so that it keeps getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And so, of course, you want to avoid that, because, oh my gosh, what I'm feeling, I want to run too. I'm going to ground this because I think it's something I'm picking up from someone watching this. So I'm going to ground it for you, okay? So you're not getting it back. I'm taking it from you, okay? Deep, deep breath. Deep breath. Remember that deep breath brings those lungs back down out of your lungs, or out of your rib cage. And it sends that message to your brain that you're safe, okay? We're not triggered anymore. Our prefrontal cortex is on. We are safe. Deep breath. Deep breath. Vortex. Going around us, going into the earth. Giving that all the way to the Holy Spirit. And that is absorbed into the earth. It has gone to spirit. Oh my goodness. Okay. And so that's the next part was, make sure you pause this and breathe if you need it before continuing on. And find somebody to talk to if you really need it, okay? Because holy crud. Whew. Okay, so the avoidance, they avoid spirituality altogether. Most of them don't believe in a higher power, because how can a higher power let something like this happen? But they're good at prayer. So those moments where they're like in the middle of something and they're just like, please, please, if you're up there, let this happen. And so they have that ability. They have the ability to speak, but the emotions aren't really behind it, because there's still that, like, is there really somebody there? And that reflects in their relationships, where are you really there for me? Because I don't know. And like, that trust is, I mean, it's so fragile. But with what people experience, I mean, can you blame them? So meditation is how you will heal. It's that being open and listening, especially in times of discomfort. So when you're in the reason meditation is so hard for this group is because it's in that stillness. Just as I explained earlier, it's in that stillness where those thoughts come up of, or sorry, not the thoughts, the emotions start coming up again, and they're like, no, 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 I don't want this. So meditation is when you sit and you keep clearing your mind of like, no, we're not dealing with that. You do that vortex, you let it all go down, you take those deep breaths, keep that prefrontal cortex on, where you just sit in that stillness. And so meditation is when you sit and you're open in long enough to hear what's coming through. And I say hear loosely because it shows up in many different ways. Some people see visuals, like a video right in front of them. Some people will hear song lyrics, they'll hear video quotes. Some people will just get that knowing of like, I know it's this. That like nudge forward or that nudge backwards, that pit in their stomach. It shows up in different ways. And the more you sit with spirit, the more you get used to the way spirit shows up for you, because spirit will always show up in the easiest way possible for you. So the small increments, just like for the anxious, we're going to be visualizing. For you, deep breathing. Just sit, do that belly breathing. Sit there, start with like, I was going to say 5, but for some reason I heard even that might be too much at first. So start with a minute. If you make it to a minute, just sitting, breathing, just letting your mind relax and not have any overthinking, not just nothing at all. We're just breathing and we're noticing our breath. We're bringing those lungs down. We are safe. And not even saying we are safe, just sitting in that still, quiet silence for as long as you can, and then slowly up the increments. And the more you do it, the more your brain will get the message of like, oh, we can sit in silence and be safe. Cool. and then um and then you're able to sit long enough to feel those nudges. And you'll notice it as you go around your day. The more you work with it, is you'll kind of sit in that silence and you'll feel that nudge and be like, oh cool, it's working. So when it gets to that point, congratulations, you've done it. And then again, as within, so without, you're going to notice that when people come to you with uncomfortable conversations, you have the ability to, we're just breathing right now. We're listening. We're listening to what they're saying. It's not about us, it's about them. What do they have to say? And in that moment, you know that you have accomplished that inner battle. You are the controller of the emotions. Only you can control them. Only you give them power. And taking those deep breaths, doing that vortex, shoving them down, saying, nope, that's not mine to carry anymore. Shame on whomever for putting that on me. That's not mine. I don't claim it. And then once you reach that, be still and know that I am God moment, not that you're God, but as Spirit said, be still and know that I am God. When you feel that still moment, both anxious and avoidant, when you feel that still moment of like, I'm still, I'm safe, I can speak, I'm still, I'm safe, I can listen. You've reached spiritual perfection, spiritual growth. I'm hearing tomato. So, but there's always room for growth. And I heard the reason perfection is correct is because with Spirit, all things are perfect. Just like no two trees are the same, they're perfect just as they are. So are you. And I'm feeling very, very grounded, and just everything stopped. So I'm going to say that that's the end of this video, and I really, truly hope that helped. Again, if you need to talk to someone or, whatever afterwards, please do. Please reach out to somebody. Make those connections. Even if you don't need to, need to talk to someone right now, still go and make those connections, because as you do, you get to measure your spiritual health. So go do that. And yeah, just have an absolutely wonderful day. And I hope you get to speak whatever is on your heart, and that someone gets to hear it and take it in and love it. And if they don't, carry on your merry way. As it says in scripture, dust your shoes off at the door and keep walking. Go on to the next one. They weren't meant to be in your life. And if they have to be in your life, boundaries. Okay, I will see you on the next one.